Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're tackling a classic issue in professional AV integration.
Right, that sort of Tower of Babel problem where nothing talks to anything else.
Exactly. We are looking at the Kramer SDIA-IN2-F16. And on paper, I mean, it is just a two-channel SDI input card.
Yeah, there's the card.
But if we look at the specs we have from HDTV Supply, this is really about how you bridge that massive gap between broadcast infrastructure and local distribution.
Without creating a total cabling nightmare.
Right. So to set the stage, this isn't a standalone box.
No, it lives inside the VS1616 modular multi-format digital matrix switchers. It is essentially the diplomat of the system.
The diplomat, I like that.
Because you've got these long-run SDI cables coming from floor cameras, and they're clashing with the HDMI ecosystem of your projectors and displays.
So it takes two SDI signals up to 3G bandwidth, right?
Correct. And it converts them separately into HDMI format before they even hit the backplane of the switcher.
Which means the rest of the matrix just sees a standard routable source.
Exactly. It treats a broadcast camera that is, hundreds of meters away, exactly like a local Blu-ray player sitting right there in the rack.
And that distance is the real aha moment here, because standard HDMI copper cables give out so fast.
Oh yeah, they tap out almost immediately without extenders.
But with this card, since it is SDI on the front end, the cable runs are massive.
We're talking up to 300 meters for standard definition.
That is almost 1,000 feet.
It is. And even for the high-end stuff, the 3G 1080p signals, you get 90 meters.
So you keep your heavy matrix switcher in the climate-controlled server room and have your sources a football field away. No fragile balloons hanging off the cameras.
Just robust BNC cabling that facility managers actually trust.
Now, I want to pivot to the audio side, because the specs list analog audio embedding.
Yes. This is a lifesaver for live events.
It features two 3.5mm mini jacks, right?
One for each channel. So if you have a camera feed with terrible audio, like awful wind noise.
Or just loud crowd ambient sound.
Exactly. You can pull a clean feed straight from a soundboard, plug it right into the analog input on this card, and it instantly overrides the SDI audio.
So the video is permanently married to the clean audio before it goes anywhere else in the building.
No external embedders needed. It just removes a whole point of failure from the signal chain.
That is huge. Okay, logistics. It operates between 0 and 40 degrees Celsius, draws about 6 watts of power, real set-it-and-forget-it hardware.
Very much so. But we should talk about the cost.
Right. HDTV Supply lists today's price at $1,232.
It is an investment. But you have to weigh the total cost of ownership here.
Right, because if a cheap distinct converter fails during a live broadcast...
You are completely dead in the water. Plus, this card is backed by a Kramer factory warranty.
And HDTV Supply actually highlights their 833 Wolfpack support team.
Which means you are buying troubleshooting. If the handshake fails, you have a real person to call.
And with a 4.7 out of 5 overall merchant rating, people clearly trust this ecosystem.
It comes back to the beauty of modular systems. The chassis stays in the rack for a decade, but you swap the cards as technology changes.
The ship of Theseus for AV.
Precisely.
So here's a final thought for you to chew on. We always obsess over the newest resolutions or the fastest cables, but consider how modular components like this input card future-proof an expensive system. Rather than replacing a whole unit, you simply swap a card to change the signal language your system speaks. Something to keep in mind next time you are patching a signal. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.